Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Club Collab. My name is Max Jimenez, and I'm here with the one and only, my man, my brother, Rhino Mindset. Let's go, Ryan.
What's
Over cash.
cracking? Yes,
What's going on,
sir.
Ryan?
In the house. What's up, Max?
What's happening, bro?
I'm just super excited, bro.
Let's go, man. Today we have an
Yeah.
interesting topic. We got a secret guest. He's not a stranger, but we got a secret guest coming on. And we're about to talk about is wholesaling dead, bro? Man.
What?
Man.
What did you just say, bro?
Man, is wholesaling dead? Is it on life support? Is it dead? Is it have they pulled the plug on wholesaling? That's what I want to know, bro. And we're gonna talk about tonight. And our very good friend that's gonna be on tonight. He's got an insight and he's gonna let loose, man. We know how he feels about wholesaling.
Oh man.
Especially aimed at you, bro.
I know, bro. The OG himself, Cash Money. Oh, I gotta keep that secret, right?
You let it out, bro.
Nobody heard, bro.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Hey, remember, this is a live show. We want you to ask your questions. We want you to comment. We want you to, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know, what's going on in your business, what market you in. And so see, man, Esther said it's not a secret no more. You let it out, bro. You let it out, bro.
Come on.
You let it out, bro.
I got you now.
Cool. So before we get started, yeah, so tonight we're gonna talk about a real topic that's happening, right? The market is shifting, things are happening across all markets. We're moving into an area, or moving into a cycle of what is it called? An interesting cycle, right? I've never been in this cycle. I started wholesaling back in 2015, but it wasn't as easy when I started, which was great, right? I know a lot of people started during that prosperity bubble where you can throw, we talked about this last week, right? Salesman versus closer. We talked about how a lot of people didn't develop skills. And when I remember when I started in 2015, late 2014, early 2015, I mean, we still had to go out midnight, me and Daniel, right? My son, putting out bandit signs, sending the letters, things like that. So it was work, right? It wasn't like how it is now. There's so much information, texting, kind of changed that a little bit. People got lazy and things like that. But now we're in a place where, man, these are interesting times, man. And so I'm very excited to talk about this tonight. But however, even though they are interesting times, even though maybe wholesaling is dead, I don't know. Who knows, right?
Don't talk like that.
But here's the cool thing is, regardless, we're skilling up, right? Because we know that skills get the deals, and none other. We're gonna have a good friend come on and talk a little bit about that. So I do want to make a couple announcements though before we proceed. Is I have my December sales intensive coming up. So what I'm going to do, the link is going to be in the description. So you can actually book a call with me. If you have any questions, we'll talk about the breakdown, what actually gets talked about. You know what I mean? So basically we're going to start the last day of November. Actually, we're starting November 30th, but that's the sales intensive. So if you are considering stepping up your skills so you can get some deals, I might even have some special guests coming on just because I think it's time to add other factors when it comes to negotiations, something that I've been learning. So I appreciate you guys for jumping on for, where are you guys tuning in from? Antonio says, what's up, fellas? Saludos desde Indiana. I appreciate you, Antonio. Paulina says, thanks for doing this, guys. Of course, no problem.
Oh, we got a deal in Indiana. Maybe he can help us out with.
Yeah, maybe he can help us on there. So Frankie's for cash.
What up, Frank?
Awesome. Well, let's bring on our secret guest, and let's tell him. Let him talk. Let him say wholesaling's dead. Let him call you out, Ryan. All right.
Okay, Max.
What up, Cash Money Mike?
What's up? What's up?
First of all, bro. I gotta say, man, you are the first guest to make it back on here for a second time. You know that, right?
Really?
Let's go, baby.
Why did you let me back in?
I don't know, man. I don't know why, but we did.
Fan favorite. Fan favorite, baby.
Definitely a fan favorite. I really appreciate you, Mike, for being on. I know it was kind of last minute, and and we didn't know what topic to talk about. And as we were discussing today, we figured, like, you know what I mean, with the state of everything that's going on, who else and who other than none than have you come on here, because number one, you've been doing this for quite a while. Number two, you know, the strategy that you teach is very relevant right now. It always has been, but even more now, right? It's highlighted. It's effective. It's a strategy that works in any cycle, especially in this cycle of the market. And I just want to talk a little bit about that. And then also, you know, just we're going to share our thoughts. You got a lot of students that attend your training. You know, what are you seeing from them? What are you hearing from them when it comes to wholesaling? But for those that don't know you, Mike, I know you've been on the show already. Maybe we got some new listeners. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you do and who you are?
Yeah, first of all, I am so incredibly honored to really be only the first person ever to get invited back on here.
That's it, bro. Yeah, you are.
Oh, man. Wow. Let me tell you something. That is an honor. I appreciate you guys. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mike Termini. You know me as Cash Money Mike out on Instagram and the social media platforms. I'm a creative real estate investor and a seller finance educator inside the space. I've got students from across the country that I teach in seller finance. I've got a 5-session course that I kind of run through and help them identify, underwrite, structured deals. I've got about 20 years in the game. Boom. And just blessed to be here, man. Thanks for having me back on. It's amazing.
Nice, of course. It's always a pleasure to have you back on here. You know, again, we love. I think last time people got a lot of value. You know, obviously we talked about a lot of things, and you know, one of the things that's really popular right now is, you know, actually before we get into talking about what's really popular, because I know you have your thoughts right now. I saw your stories, and I was laughing, right? Because you know, it's interesting, man, because like throughout these last 2-3 years has brought up some interesting characters. You know, some people started as, you know, acquisition experts. Then they move into disposition experts because it was so easy to move deals. And then they moved into market crash experts. And now I'm starting to see some people spring up as seller finance experts and terms experts, right? So I want to get into it just a little bit. Listen,
when there's nowhere else to go. When there's nowhere else to go, you run the creative.
That's right. That's right. So what I want to give a little insight, you know, something that we're seeing is a lot of people are, you know, basically they're, you know, struggling right now. And we were talking right before we went online and we went live that there's a lot of people that are dropping like flies, right? Unfortunately, you know, they didn't learn how to pivot. They didn't, you know, understand, you know, or not understand, but they didn't actually invest into a new skill set, right? You know, they didn't look past the years of good profits, right? You know, a lot of people, what happened is basically they thought those good profits were going to last. Can you talk about, because you've been doing this for a while and you've been through a couple of cycles, and have you seen this before where the same thing? I mean, not every market's the same, but the tune or it rhymes. What do they say? You know that old saying?
Yeah. So the feeling, I think ultimately we are experiencing more shiny object syndrome as people moving from strategy to strategy. Mm-hmm. And if you've never really experienced a market where the market has kind of come down, it leaves people a little bit nervous because, to your point, I mean, everybody who jumped into this game 5, 6, 7 years ago and have experienced only a fantastic market.
Yeah.
So what I'm seeing it from two different lenses. I'm seeing the people who didn't get educated or thought they were getting educated in some kind of a strategy, either didn't take it serious enough, to your point, because I watch your stories and it's all about making this your lifestyle. You're either in real estate or you're not in real estate.
Correct.
And if you're not in real estate and you're following the next shiny object thing, I think you're going to be unsuccessful.
Yeah.
The second part of the equation is, now the new thing is creative, right? So now if I'm not successful in one area, let me jump into another area, not really understand it very well, and wind up with the exact same result. So the education part of this is so incredibly important to get yourself around the right people and the right educators, the right creative finance educators, the right sales educators, and jump in 2 feet ahead and just kind of stay with it. You're either in this game or you're not in this game. You can't have
Yeah.
one foot in, one foot out. You won't be successful.
Yeah. Right. No, I love that you're saying that, because there's so much truth to that, right? A lot of people, when they came into this, and obviously we saw the explosion, especially right at, again, I think you said something very important there, is because even when I started, right, like things were on the up and up, right? Like, that's the reason why I got into real estate back in 2014, is a friend of mine had been doing real estate. This was years ago, and we kept in touch. And then in like 2013, 2014, the market started to climb again, right? Prices were going up, and people started they were building more houses, and that's what got me interested. So that trend continued, and it just magnified into 2020, which is crazy. And then it's just exploded, right, with different tools and different strategies, as far as like how to reach a seller, texting, cold calling, all that stuff. And that's where I think what we're talking about today is people left what they were, what is it called, learning skills, because it was a little bit of, there was a window of prosperity where I always joke, you can throw a rock and then land a deal. You can and then you can throw it on the other side and sell the deal. And so again, the writings were on the wall. And I like what you said, if you're in this business and you're actually treating it like a business, and you're watching your key performing indicators, you're watching the market, you understand your marketing, what's happening, is you see like there has to be a change, because we actually sold our last flip. We didn't flip a lot, like we would cherry pick. So we sold our last flip in March of this year. So that was the last flip that we had, and we hit it we hit the nail right in the head right before the market started to shift. And so then what you're saying is that in all this stuff, all this new shiny objects, like let's go learn this, let's go learn that, and then at the end of the day, you don't ever learn anything. It's always a problem, man. I see this consistently in this business.
You ultimately put yourself into a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking to get out of the hamster wheel, but if you kind of put yourself in there and you keep running from thing to thing, or strategy to strategy, or mentor to mentor, I'm all for like kind of spreading the education out and getting mentors from different areas. But you should, and this always brings me back to like the one thing that I think people really don't have, and that's a very clear goal on what they want to accomplish, right? They love the idea of either, wholesale in real estate, or jumping into a strategy. But at the end of the day, I think the most important thing for people is that they all of a sudden realize, hey, you know what? I want to own rentals, or I want to try to get wealthy, or I want to try to get rich, or they listen to different stuff, not really understanding what that means, right? It just sounds fantastic. Like, hey, I want to not be able to, work, as hard and make all this money. And then, they find these strategies on social media platforms and think that's the next best thing. What I'm finding now is that most of the people are now offering these strategies without ever having any kind of education. Listening to some of the words that are coming out of the mouths of some of
there you go. See that? Guru's got to showcase those Lambos.
Man, I mean, some of the stuff that's coming out of some of these investors' mouths when they're either pitching it or I'm listening to calls are absolutely cringeworthy, because it's like, oh my man, like if you just maybe understood it a little bit differently, you might get that much farther along. But that's where the real, like to your point, the cream rises to the top, right? There's a lot of people falling out of the game right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Ryan and I were actually talking about this. I think it's a combination of understanding, choosing a strategy. So let me ask you this, Mike, before I get to what I'm gonna say is, should you, because I know, obviously it's okay to learn new things, but should you adjust on a fly, or should you be adjusting to what the market is giving you? Like right now, obviously we know that seller finance and creative financing is like, it's going, especially coming up in this year. You know what I mean? It's going to be like the end. I don't want to say end all be all, but pretty much close to it. Do you believe that?
So I think the more people that are truly invested in real estate will understand the true opportunity in front of them. I think people like just with like even like some of the lead generating sources, right, that people kind of implement today, right? The VAs and the cold callers and all this stuff. When I was around coming up, we didn't have any of that stuff. Like we had a lead gen in a certain way, a little bit old school. And I think a lot of those things kind of still work nowadays. But the more you're involved in real estate and the more you understand about real estate, because what you see and what you hear on real estate out on social media is just very small snippets of kind of how to get deals done. So I feel like if somebody's in it, you get a much bigger opportunity to kind, that just opens up the doors for everything, lead gen, deals, all of it, really.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think the opportunities are going to be, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, right? Joseph said opportunities right now are everywhere. Adding skill set is a must. I think that's huge. One thing that I'm big on is obviously understanding, how to, one thing that you said earlier that caught my attention is understanding that, how to just have a normal conversation, man. Like most guys come in and I was doing role playing yesterday. I mean, Ryan, I was on your masterclass 101. And so one of the guys that was on there, I did some role playing with him. I went through the script and he was like blown away because I'm like, it's just having a normal conversation. Obviously you got to know what to say, what to listen for, what to understand. But that also, I said, you gotta understand those 5-10 minutes that you and I just went through. That's 4 years of investing. That's 6 years of investing into like my skills and my craft. Like, and that's what has to happen. And that's why, like you're saying, it's funny to hear that these guys now are coming in now because seller finance is popular or creative financing is popular. Now they're starting to talk about it when they haven't even done it yet, which is,
What I find interesting about you and I is that you and I haven't known each other for too long. I've been in the game for a minute. You've been in the game for a minute. And I forget where we were, but I was talking about starting the conversation and just getting the conversation to flow. And as I'm going through whatever I'm going through, you go, Mike, look at this. And you pulled something up and you go, this is the exact question. I think we were talking about either occupied or vacant. And that kind of being the crack in the door for me to get into a conversation. And you're like, look at this. This is the exact question that I have. And I was like, that's because we understand how to have a conversation.
Exactly.
Right. And how to get the conversation started in a way that's going to make sense for both us and for the seller to understand. And I know you made comments in my stories today, like words that you shouldn't use when you're pitching creative finance. It's because people don't truly understand what they're trying to accomplish.
No, 100%. I think, again, and I've said this on your lives too, is that people try to use new strategies for convincing instead of figuring out if that's a solution that's going to work, a different option, right? Like you could still try to negotiate the cash option if that's part of your exit strategy. Where seller finance, I know for you is primary, it always will be. You hold property. You obviously you're big on that, not selling property. We're kind of we've done a mind shift. We're switching to that little by little. We still do wholesale deals, but most people don't know yet about that. And when they hear something new, innovation or seller finance, creative financing, it's like they think that's a tactic to use to convince the seller to do business with them. And that's the wrong approach to that. You know what I mean?
Take away so much of the power of seller finance by offering it as an option. And it's a real kind of, now Ryan, try not to shoot me here, but it's a real wholesale mindset, right? Because you're so used to providing maybe 2 or 3 options. And when people provide seller finance as an option, you literally take the power away of what is possible when you just try to present it as an option. If you believe you're going to get the deal, because now, yes, it's all about money, but somebody like Max and Ryan and myself who understand how to have conversations, we're working towards the money.
Exactly.
You're just taking the money and saying, hey, I can give you A, B, and C, and this is why you should sell it to me. And I get so many people that are like, hey, like I want to put these deals together. like, can I wholesale them? And I'm like, yeah, you could wholesale them. You'll probably get a larger assignment fee because you're giving somebody time.
Yep.
But why are you doing that? Like,
Right.
why are you doing that? You're kind of, it's just a little counterintuitive, you know?
No, I love that. Joseph, you're right. We have a total of 23 people across Facebook and YouTube, which is actually pretty decent. So, guys, if you have questions, I know a lot of you out there that are, especially that you're watching right now, we got 24 to 25 people right now. I know there's a lot of challenges out there right now. We're live right now. We're live here, ready to answer your questions. We got Cash Money Mike on here, man. This guy's amazing. He won't leave till he stops answering the. So the last question is answered. So make sure that you're answering your question. What struggles are you going through right now? Because right now it's a vicious cycle we're in. Like, it is insane right now. Ryan, you want to talk a little bit about? I'm gonna bring you in here because you're in the front lines talking to our joint venture partners. What's the consistent conversation you're having to have right now, Ryan, with our JV partners? That's got us thinking that maybe wholesaling is dead.
I'm not going to say wholesaling is dead, but it's definitely a lot more challenging. So the main thing I think has always been the main thing, which is getting the price down to the right price, right? In order to make it a wholesale deal, in order to move it in today's market. So that's the biggest thing. Then from there, we are starting to we got some traction because we know we do seller finance. So we're getting a lot of questions now on how to structure those deals, how to approach those deals. And obviously that's when I'm getting them connected with you and with Mike.
Yeah.
Cash Money Mike.
So basically what you're saying is that it's getting a lot harder to get that 50 cents, 40 cents on the dollar.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's not the what do I say, the general public, right? Gen pop.
Yeah.
They don't understand. They haven't caught up, right? They still think that they can get top dollar for the most part, right? That's what our cold callers are saying. That's what our acquisition team's saying. That's what JV partners are saying. So it's still hard to come, to get those people to bite on 40, 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, 100%. But the beautiful thing is, though, this is where, like what Cash Money's saying, right? This is where something creative comes in, because people are, even though that's getting tougher, people are now more receptive and they're more open to hearing. I mean, Cash Money, what are you hearing from your students? I mean, obviously Ryan's talking to a lot of more newbies where they're trying to get their first deal, second deal, third deal, fifth deal, but you're getting people that have maybe been doing wholesaling, because now a lot of sellers are more receptive from my conversation that I've had. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, what you're seeing on that end?
Yeah. So actually, I think you guys, and I'll talk about one student specifically, which is Antonio. I think you've heard me kind of break down his seller calls on my IG live. And
yeah, is that Tony that you're talking about? Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. REI Tony.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Got it.
He's a grinder. The guy,
super coachable too. Loves to learn. Loves to get better. I love that dude.
Loves it. He's been he took my training in August, and I broke down a call for him live on IG.
I remember that.
And it was cringeworthy, right? We were like, oh my God. We were like 1 minute and 30 seconds into the call, and you're kind of like, oh man, you're doing too much talking, blah, 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 blah. So I gave him some stuff to go back with. And if I don't know if you caught my last live on Sunday, but there was another call where now he's talking to a guy who has an MBA, tried to kind of impose his I know
what I'm talking about. Like,
his supreme,
I'm a finance guy.
Yeah,
I'm a finance guy.
I'm the finance guy who graduated at the top of my class from Notre Dame.
Tea time, 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Talking to a wholesaler.
And Antonio is schooling the guy.
Right.
Absolutely schooling the guy. So awesome. What I'm seeing with a lot of my students is obviously a lot of it has to do with training, and a lot of it has to do with sales training. Ultimately, right? How to get into these conversations, how to get the door open, how to kind of provide the benefits for the seller, understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And in 1 week, this guy had turned everything around. I was on a Zoom with him today again, and he's got 2 very, very good prospects. So I can see, even for somebody who had a wholesale mindset, is something's playing in the background there. Can you hear that?
Yeah, music? I think it's your music, Ryan. You gotta turn that down, bro.
I didn't even hear it.
Yeah. There we
Are
go.
you
He's
there
jamming
now?
out over there, bro.
I didn't
Woo!
hear it.
Somebody
He's
grab me
bringing
some
the
of that
fire.
super coffee. Give me that super coffee and let's have a party.
Yeah, I need that super coffee too,
Dude,
bro.
y'all gotta get off my super coffee, bro.
With somebody like even Antonio or even some of my other students, I mean, it's just wide open. They're getting a lot more traction because ultimately, I think people might not be willing to drop their price,
Yeah.
right? Because maybe they're not educated on where the market is, but they're definitely more open to maybe waiting a little while to get all of their money. So I'm seeing nothing but like a slow turn towards sellers being open to creative.
I love that you said that because, and I'll get to Alan's question right now because well, the way I look at it, because my mind works right. Like I'm a true sales guy. I'm a true like I like to learn. I like to see how I can integrate certain things. And one thing that I know with especially with seller finance, where it's basically the solution is similar, but the outcome is different when it comes to the time frame, right? I think that's the difference, right? Is getting the time frame, because you're still almost providing what when you're doing a seller finance deal. And Mike, obviously I'll have you jump in anytime in here. When you're doing a seller finance deal, what I'm finding out as the more I have these conversations is that I could still provide the same solutions and the same benefits of offering a cash offer on a wholesale deal with, but more it's bigger advantages for me and the seller both, right? But I still can get them out of that situation, give them the quick close, things like that, where they don't have to pay anything. All that stuff is still included in that. The difference is that now we have more advantages doing a seller finance deal, and so does the seller as well.
Yeah, they're going to give up one or two things. They're either going to give up equity or they're going to give up time.
Yeah, got it.
Money,
that makes sense.
Or time, right? They're only going to give up one or two things. So if they want to sell it at a discount, they can sell it at a discount. If they don't want to sell it at a discount and net what they really want, they're going to give up time.
That's super important, Mike, because a lot of people that we come across, they don't know that as well. They're like, hey, they want 150 plus they want to pay it off in 2 years, plus they want 10% interest, plus they want 10 grand down. Yeah, right. And I think that's a big piece that's missing when some of these, like you guys are talking about, newbies kind of hearing things and then trying to run with it, not understanding that it's, hey, listen, if you want your price, then it's my terms, right? Can you guys speak to that a little bit, Mike, as far as what we set the tone on?
Yeah, I asked Max, maybe I should erase my board from one of my trainings earlier today. He said, no, just leave it up there. I mean, I'm comfortable with leaving it up here. And ultimately, all of these right here are negotiable.
Yep.
Right? The purchase price is negotiable. The down payment is negotiable. The actual payments are negotiable. The timeline is negotiable. The interest is negotiable. And the interest only is negotiable. Here's where people come like they don't understand where to go. Is that in exchange for something of value, you need to get one thing, and that's time. Seller finance and creative finance is all about time. The more time you make, to Max's point, the more time you make, the more time you get, the more money the seller is going to make or net in the long run, and the more money you're going to make over time. So when you understand that all 6 of these are negotiable as compared to just one number on wholesale, this opens up so much opportunity that it's just insane.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love that. I love that about seller finance. Everything's negotiable. It's like a white canvas. Yeah.
All of it.
Cool.
Yep. So if somebody wants too much money.
Alan says, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead. I thought you were finished.
No, I'm sorry.
Alan says, what's the best response when a seller asks, how is it possible for you to take over my mortgage?
I love this question. People don't know what take over the mortgage is. They don't understand how to take it over. So ultimately what you're talking about, Alan, is it says, what's the best response when a seller asks, how is it possible for you to take over my mortgage? You're ultimately talking about subject to, right? Because you're going to leave the loan in place. And all takeover means is you're going to make the payments on their behalf. That's how you take over the mortgage. So that's what needs to be kind of explained to the seller about, how you're going to make those payments, how you're going to make sure that you make those payments on their behalf. I run into so many guys that are like, hey, I got a sub-2 deal. I'm just going to wrap it. I'm like, why would you put yourself at risk on a wrap, right?
Yeah.
To have somebody not make the payment, make you responsible for it. They don't know how to sell these deals ultimately. Yeah. And again, having a clear goal on what you want to have happen with your investments is going to go a long way before you just jump into a sub-2 where you're going to take over somebody's loan. Then you're going to take over the loan on the solar panels that are on there. And then you're going to, work through a probate it's just the craziest stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
You need to really understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. But that's ultimately it. You just got to make them aware.
I love that. Joseph says, are you using private money or your own capital on these seller finance deals?
Joey Frangos, man. Let me tell you how much I love Joe Frangos, man.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's got a great little community called Legacy Makers that I love. I told him
shout out to Legacy Makers. I love it.
I didn't forget about you, Joe. I'm getting in there. So Cash Money Mike uses his own capital, but Cash Money Mike has a lot of partners, and I don't know why I'm talking in third person, but I mean, it sounds good, so I'm going to go with it.
Look, man, Cash Money Mike.
Cash Money Mike does what he wants, man.
Somebody get me my cigarette.
Go get us a super coffee. Curate.
Somebody get me.
Here we go.
Joe, I play in multifamily, so I've got a lot of partners, and I bring on a lot of investors, and I'm partnering up with a guy now that we're starting to do some big stuff together and bring investors in. So, I use my own money, but I use other people's money too.
Yeah, I like what Thomas says here. Shout out to Thomas. He was on the show, system process guy. This guy, if you talk about a guy that's got his stuff together, man, Thomas is legit. He says in Texas, I would never say take over the mortgage. Taking over means you're assuming the mortgage. Here we say I'm making payments on your behalf. So just a little clarity on that. So
yeah, there you go.
Yep, I love it. Gabe said, we took orders from buyers when the market was hot. Ryan has been helping me dig into pain and timeline. He let me have it before we hopped on this live. I appreciate you.
What up, Gabe?
Get him. My guy,
better,
let's
baby.
go.
Getting better every day.
Look at this, man. Cash Money Mike. They talk, you deliver, bro.
There you go.
Love the movement that he's doing. That's another movement Thomas has. They talk, I deliver. So talking a little bit about that is obviously, Ryan, you talked a little bit about the struggles that people are having out there trying to get these deals on. And one thing you have to remember, it's not because they don't want to sell. It's because what happens if they sell? What are they going to go find, right? That's always, you have to keep that in mind. They might have a mortgage where it's like 2%, 3% interest rate, and they sell and they're going to go buy. What are they going to do? Go get a mortgage at 7% interest rate? And a lot of times, though, is here's, what's funny about this, Cash Money Mike, something I learned. Most people don't think this far ahead. Not everybody needs $100,000 in cash. They have absolutely no idea what to do with that money. Mm-hmm. Most people are scared to death to actually receive that much cash in their bank account. They don't know what to do with it. So if you can come in where you can actually, where we're seeing this and come in with the seller finance strategy, explain to them the benefits, the upside, obviously not trying to convince them, but more of an advisor role, right? Mm-hmm. And people don't, and then once you start talking to them and start making them see like the advantages, they're actually very receptive. That's one thing that I have seen, man. The separator though is not so much the advantages, but is the time. I think you said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's absolutely the time. They're going to give up either equity or they're going to give up time. But to your point, is like, as you're working them towards the money, right? You're not kind of just spitting it out as an option. You're working them towards the money. And in order for you to truly understand if somebody needs $100,000 or not, you've got to ask questions that wholesalers aren't really used to asking, right?
Yep.
Like you got to dig a little bit deeper, and it's all about how do you get the conversation started? How do you keep the conversation moving? How do you understand like a little personality profiling from
Yep.
the other side, right? Understanding who you're dealing with, kind of reading between the lines to understand what people want and what people need. When you then understand what they want, what they need, and the difference between the two, that's where the power of seller finance comes in. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Are you open to making more money on this property than you're asking?
I love that. Damn.
And they're like, wait a minute. And then you're like, would you like a refundable or a non-refundable deposit?
I love that.
Are you open to making more money than what you're asking? Are you serious? Jeez.
I love that.
That's just one of 30.
So you want to hear something? You want to hear how I overcome? How much time do you need? When I ask your, I don't know if you want me to say it here, but
I want you to say it. Come on, let's go.
No. But your question about, hey, if I paid you, I don't know if that's something you want me to drop on here, but they'll ask me like, well, how much time do you need?
Well, set it up for the viewers here. Of course.
Sure. So obviously, Cash Money. I learned this from you because I was the same way. I used to say before, since we basically, we're too far apart on a one lump sum. Never use the word cash, right? I always say, hey, we're too far apart to give you a one lump sum to get you, out of here and get you cashed out. However, in the past is, where sellers have allowed us to make them payments and they become the bank. That's the way I used to pitch it. And sellers were too confused, right? They're like, they couldn't wrap their mind around like, how can I be the bank? And so I was running into that objection quite a bit. So when I met you, man, the way you said it just fit like a glove with my sales system, where it was like, now it's like a whole different ball game, brother. I was like, you know what? Now I say the same spiel, and then I say, hey, obviously we're too far away. We're too far away from, giving you a one lump sum. I think, we're going to be way too low. However, if I was to able to give you what you want, how much time would you feel comfortable giving us to pay that off?
Man, that rolls off your tongue nice, man. I like that one.
Right. So it's like a high pitch and then a downward turn, right? Curiosity, like curiosity. But here's the trick though, is, well, I don't know. How does that work? Well, how much time would you need? Now, here's where a lot of people get in trouble, right? And I'm learning this as a trial and test. Right away, I would give out a date and everything. And here's what I would say. And here's what I'm saying right now is like, hey, that's a fair question. I appreciate that you asked that. What I can tell you is every seller has different goals. For me, I love to keep it as possible. I've had sellers give me 15 years and 20 years. You see what I did there? I put the longer time at the end, right? I've had sellers give me 15 years and 20 years. How much time are you comfortable giving me based on your goals and what you're trying to accomplish?
To make that even saucier.
Let's go. Let's hear it. Let's hear the sauce.
Lose the word year.
Right.
Say,
yeah.
Some people have given me 240 months. Some people have given me 180 months.
I love it. Yeah, that's true.
So effectively, I make them 180 payments.
Yep. And I don't use years. I don't know why I just said that, but you're definitely right. It's definitely and you should see they're like, dang, I can't do the 20 years, but I can do 10. And in my head, I'm like,
you're pulling the lever, right? You're like, ding, 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 ding. I got one. Yeah.
That's it. And guess what? I have what they want calculated already. I have a little calculator here. Okay, so if we did 120 months and I made you equal monthly payments of $240, that's what you would be comfortable with. And that's it. No interest rate, no down payment. It's like, yeah.
And here's where people go, how do you structure it?
Yeah.
Max just structured it. Everything that just came out of his mouth is going to go into a promissory note, and that's the structure. There's no
structure.
Magic. That's the structure.
No. That's the structure.
He said, hey, I'm going to make you X amount of payments for X amount of time, and this is what I'm going to pay you.
Yep.
There's your structured note. Done. Easy.
That's it. No interest rate. No, none of that talk.
We don't even talk about interest anymore.
No, not at all, man.
Unless you find somebody savvy who wants a little interest, then there's so many things you could do.
Oh yeah, once they talk about interest, then when the interest rate conversation comes out, what happens next is, hey, usually when we talk about interest rate, that's when then we have to extend the time. We can have that conversation if you like. See, so that,
How much,
you know what I mean?
How much interest would you like, Mr. Seller?
Exactly.
Let
How
him
much?
tell
That's
you,
exactly it.
And every time,
Perfect for me. That's another 5 years. That'll cost you 5 years.
Yeah, man, you're getting good. You're getting good.
Yeah. It's getting there. It's getting there. Mateo says, what's your approach when a seller tells you they would not consider seller finance due to their age, 80 or 90-year-old, and not wanting to leave anything possibly to their heirs? Interesting. Nothing.
There's no deal.
Yeah, there's no deal, Mateo.
Easy, yeah.
There's no deal here, bud.
It's dead, Mateo.
Yeah.
It's dead.
We're
Let
not
it go,
convincing,
bro.
We're not convincing, bro.
Yeah, no.
I just wanted yeah, there's no deal there, but I just wanted to give you a little bit insight of what I'm saying after they say, well, how much time do you need? And then again, I've already got it structured based on what their asking price, amortized for 30 years. And then I say, okay, so if I made you 120 equal monthly payments of $240 a month, that's what you would feel comfortable with, is what I'm hearing. Yeah. Yep.
Man, that's
and no
dirty.
interest rate. He's all, that's dirty.
That's dirty. I might have to bring you onto the team. You keep that up.
I'm ready, coach. Bring me in.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what do we do next?
You know,
you guys,
when you really see what you can do with interest, that'll be the turning point for you. You'll be like, oh boy, like, ready, really?
Man. Yeah. I'm super excited about this.
Yeah, a lot of people seem to be afraid of the interest, cash money. So it sounded like, hey, you say bring that on because why?
Because think of it from the standpoint of the seller. Or you know what? Let's take you and I, right? If I'm buying something from you and I'm giving you exactly what you want and you agree to give me some time, but you're just kind of on the fence. You're just not there. You're almost there, but you're there. And you bring up to me, you know what? I'm smarter than cash. I've got my MBA and I've graduated top of the class. I graduated top
Notre
of the
Dame
at Notre Dame. Let me ask for a little interest. That's where calculating the interest and doing things with the interest that you would never even think of, that makes so much sense to a seller that they're like, oh my God, not only is he going to overpay me, but he's also going to give me interest. How do I say no to this offer? You almost put them up against the wall and go, now what?
Dang.
You're either going to say yes or you're going to say no. If you say no and you walk away, you're never going to find this deal again, ever.
That's right.
So, you know, even like when you're asking questions, right? I'm looking for a specific response. I'm asking questions to get a specific response that I know I'm going to get. And that only comes with experience, right? Max and yourself, Ryan, you ask questions, you know what kind of response you're going to get, and you're looking for a specific response. So I structure my questioning like that because I want you to answer in a certain way.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, you know what I call that? Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but I call that the illusion of giving the seller the illusion of they're in control. Right? That's the orchestration of a maestro. Yep.
And I give the seller's illusion of interest.
Yeah, there you go. I need to, man. Let's go, baby.
Illusions of
getting
interest.
Excited here. Where's my coffee at? Cash Money, because it looks like
that's cocoa. Ain't no coffee. What are you drinking over there?
He said that's white hot chocolate.
Got your cocoa.
Super coffee, man.
Yeah, super coffee.
Thomas says, how often do you note hypothecation?
I can't even say that word.
Somebody get a dictionary.
Jeez, Thomas.
Come on, Thomas. Why you got to flex like that, bro?
Yeah.
Thomas. I'm a dumb brother. What the fuck does that even mean? Help your boy out. Ryan, answer that for me.
Yeah, Ryan, you're the finance
Thomas.
guy, bro.
So what we do, Thomas, is 1 out of every 10 deals, we will hypothecation the deal.
Oh, hypothecation. There you go.
Yeah.
Can't even pronounce
I'm
that
sorry.
damn word.
So
I
he
have no
says
idea.
it is the process of agreeing to use an asset as collateral in exchange for a loan.
Can you use that in a sentence, Max?
Yeah.
With the car loan, for example, you agree that your car is used as a collateral to secure your loan. If you can't repay the loan, your lender repossesses the car. So I don't know. Thomas, come on, bro.
Man. How
Got you there, bro? Or
hypothecate? You know, I don't usually get stumped, but I got to tell you, Thomas, you stumped me, and I probably don't want to meet you. I probably don't want to meet. No, I'm kidding, brother. I'm kidding, brother. I love you. I'm just kidding. But you got to go easy with the words here because I'm not a smart guy, brother.
I love this guy. Oh man, Cash Money Mike strikes again.
The takeaway. Paulina said that interest play is oh. Juan Ochoa said Thomas is another level. Oh man. But getting back to our conversation about continuing this, guys, if there's any questions, man, there's quite a bit of you.
Yeah, where are the questions?
I appreciate it, man. Where's the questions? Come on, guys. There's guys and gals as well. Everyone that's on here,
yes.
Drop your questions,
ladies and gentlemen,
comments. Hit, also make sure that you tag us on IG. Tag Cash Money Mike _ Real Ryan Overcash, Real Max Jimenez.
Wait, is Gabe or Mateo still on here? They're the ones that are on the phones all the time. Gabe, Mateo, ask your questions.
Yeah, guys, what's going on? Yeah. So Mike, what I wanted to ask you next is obviously going with the theme of the title of the show is where do you think we're at with what's let's beat up Mike, on that just a little bit.
Think about your answer just for a minute. Okay, just give me a second.
I want to answer carefully because I know I'm coming into town soon and I don't want to get beat up.
I'm about to set you up. We're going to talk about that too before you jump off about our meetup coming up. Where do you see? Obviously, we don't have a crystal ball, and I'm going to quote Jim Rohn, where they asked him, "Hey, Jim, how do you think the 80s are going to look like?" Well, I can tell you, I got some insight on that, And he's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Yeah, they're going to look just like the 70s have looked." He goes, "But the difference is just depends on what you yourself." But obviously, you understanding the markets and is what we're seeing right now in this moment is going to be a hyperbole of this all year? Or is that kind of like in your opinion? I know it's just an opinion, and like I said, we don't have a crystal ball, but
I think the market. So I'll talk about 2 points here. I think the market as a whole. I think we're in for another 50 basis point maybe hike in December, which is going to constrict things even a little bit more. If you watch some of the YouTube videos out there, they're talking about a nasty, nasty crash. So I don't know if you're on the optimist side or the pessimist side, but I can tell you that something seems like it's going to happen. I just don't know what that is. I don't know. I don't really know. I know that we're Ryan was saying, earlier that it's getting, a little bit more difficult to lock up deals. So I'm sure you're probably already adjusting ARVs at 20 or 25% just to try to put deals together, but you're having a problem convincing the sellers because they're not there yet. So that's kind of a mashup of stuff. Yeah. But with creative, it does not matter. Yeah. It does not matter because, and this is what's so nice about creative real estate is that, people would tell you all the time, it's so hard to have the crystal ball. There's, it's funny you say crystal ball because Antonio and I, we had a seller who said, "I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball." Mm-hmm. And the return response was, "Let's get rid of the crystal ball. Let's guarantee your interest in this.
I love it.
And make sure that you get X amount of money every single month." So when you're talking about creative
fixed income,
you're talking about a strategy that I don't want to say is like market proof, right? But
yeah.
You can use it in any market, up, down, sideways, it doesn't matter. And anybody who tells you that you can't actually play the market, in other words, know when to sell high, know when to refinance when things are nice and low, is a crock of it. Because when you have the time like that, Max, when you get as much time like that, you can pick and choose your battle. You can go, oh, you know what? Rates are nice and low now. Now I'm going to go ahead and refi. Or this thing is super high and I've got my eyes on another deal. Let me go ahead and sell.
I love that, man. That's amazing, and I love that because you know what we used to do when, especially when it would be right around this time when people are like, hey, you know, we want to wait till after the holidays, and you know, we all knew those were just stories. And one thing that I always just tell sellers, like, hey, you know what? Let's pretend that you do wait. It's February, excuse me, March. You decide to sell, and the property drops. You know, we never gave percentages. We always said, and let's say let's say the property could go up, but let's pretend that it drops by $30,000 to $20,000. I'm assuming that's not going to impact you in any way or shape. And they would be like, wait a minute, yeah, if it drops 20,000. Well, that's, you know, and then we would use that to say, like, you have a for sure offer right now, right? Like, this offer is not going to change. It's just a different aspect now. We're talking about, you know, the interest and all that with that. So Paulina said, Max, are you guys only offering seller finance to houses with full equity? No. I mean, obviously that's always the goal with that because they don't have a loan in place. But if they have a small loan, you know, we're trying to take over that small loan and then having the seller carry the rest of the amount. So, oh, she has a follow. If not, how else are you offering it? X taking over mortgage payments, sub 2, or what are you guys doing? Yeah, so there's a specific deal we're working in Georgia right now where the lady owes check this out. The lady owes $50,000. Her monthly payment is $900, and she wants like I think she wants like $400,000 for the house. Rents for about $2,800. So I'm negotiating it where I'm going to give her the $400. But I'm only going to make the payment for the mortgage amount. That's what I'm negotiating. Is she owes the $50,000, going to continue making the payments at $900, but I'm still going to give her the full $400. But I haven't talked about, you know, any other interest rate or any other second payment. It's like, hey, and the way I pitch that, Mike, you're gonna laugh at this. Same thing, right? Hey, if we gave you the $400 and we took and we continued to make the payments of $900. That's how we put it together, right? We created the loan. We didn't talk about like creating another loan. We're not, you know what I mean? We're going to make you payments on this. We're going to give you interest on that second loan and this and that. I clumped it all together and just said, and we're going to continue to make the $900 a month payment. Don't have to worry about tenants. You don't have to worry about repairs or anything like that. And that's, you know, again, that's a deal that has a small mortgage that we're putting together. Obviously, we still haven't gotten that one. We're going back and forth right now. But that's another great strategy where you can also offer whatever it is that they're asking, right? Whether they have a small loan and they're asking more, you're obviously going to create a second, you know, where the seller's going to carry it. But I don't talk about payments or interest, Mike, on that second loan that the seller's going to finance for me.
So I hear those numbers and I wonder why the loan payment is $900 on a $50,000 note.
That's what she owes. She's had it for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She's had it for a long time. Yeah. And I check with Seamus. Seamus is a good friend. You know Seamus, right? And he said that place will rent for $2,800 pretty easy. So
there you go. There you go.
Yep. Thomas said a little bird told me hedge funds are talking with banks about the next steps when homeowners default. Nice. Let's go. Bryant said, great advice, Mike. So Mike is dropping some nuggets here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So, you know, so let's talk about the meetup, man. You want to talk about that? You know what we got going on coming in December? You want to?
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So, guys, December 8th, next month, Cash Money Mike, we're going to have the luxury of having them come in and fly into Phoenix. If what you heard tonight, listen, if you're in Phoenix, doesn't matter if you're in Phoenix, another state, you want to come and join us December 8th. Cash Money Mike is going to fly into town. We're going to have a meetup December 8th from 5 to 8 p.m. Ryan, I think, right?
Yeah.
5 to 8 p.m. And
well, it's going to be to midnight because Cash Money's there. So
yeah, literally to midnight. So we're going to have a meetup. We're extremely excited about this because I think it's very much needed. People need to hear this stuff. one thing I'm excited about is talking about exactly what we talk about tonight, which is, again, I don't bleed into what Cash Money Mike teaches because I'm not the expert of that. But he's going to talk about seller finance. You know, he's going to break that down. He's going to talk about what he's doing. And then, you know, Ryan's going to come in and talk about what he's seeing on this position. He's going to talk about, you know, some of the things that he's seeing in other markets. And then I'm going to come in and talk about, you know, how to have a conversation about both, right, with sellers and also, you know, buyers as well too. So you don't want to miss this, man. If you have not registered, I'm going to put the link in the description. But Mike, talk about it, man. What's up? What's going to happen, brother?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I appreciate you guys inviting me out there. I'm excited to get out there. So I think we haven't really spoken about format at all, but I can promise you this much. If you show up there and you're a part of it, I'm the type of guy that I don't leave anywhere until all of your questions are answered. We'll talk a lot about seller finance. I don't know how deep we'll get into it, but I'll get as deep as you want me to get into it. You can ask anything that you want to ask, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. I think the most important thing is to show you what's really possible in this changing market, because your opportunity is absolutely immense. And I think people who go into this think that they need to understand all these crazy high-level things. Now, a lot of my training is very high level, but in order to really put one together, you don't need I don't need
hypothecation.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to say it again. But thanks. You don't need like all of these things.
I got you, man. I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you. You don't need a lot of the stuff that you're used to, right? You don't need JV. You don't need a buy box. You don't need a percentage of ARV. You don't need, a dispo department. You don't need any low ball offers. You don't need all of these things. And the only things that you really do need to put them together is to understand how principal and interest works, understand how to have a conversation to Max's point, how to get a crack in the door, to get the door open, to get the conversation started. And then when you truly dig deep and you're asking for the one thing that you really need to understand before you do anything is the motivation of the seller. It all boils down to motivation, time, and money. And when you understand all of that and the things that you can do with the money and the things that you can do with the interest, the entire game opens itself back up to you. So if you feel like the walls are kind of closing in now because of what's going on in the market with wholesale, with creative, it's like the sun comes out, the rain's over, and and you're back and on track there. So I'm excited to be coming out there, man.
I love it. It's Juan said, who's bringing the whiteboard? Oh, the whiteboard will be there. You better believe it. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'll be bringing one if they don't have one. I'll be running out to Walmart to go get one.
Guys, you don't want to miss this. I mean, it's going to be incredible. I can tell you, just to add to Ryan's point, that I know he was jokingly saying we're going to be there till midnight, but seriously, like, that's one thing that we relate really well with Cash Money, Ryan and myself, is that he's a true go-giver, man. Like, this guy is amazing. That's where we were able to connect and feel like we've known each other for like 10 years, Mike. And we, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I always think about that, man. Like, I feel like we've known each other for 10 years just because how well we connect. And, we have the similar mindset when it comes to giving back. That's why it's really important to, man, if you guys can make it out, it doesn't matter if you're not here in Phoenix, like, come through. If you're in California, Texas, Cash Money Mike's going to fly in from North Carolina. We want to show him support. And, man, we got some great, what is it called? Things that we're going to, again, we don't have an outline yet, but just think about it. I think the conversation we had tonight, we could put a whole course on that, bro. We could charge $10K for that, Cash Money.
I think what's so nice about us is that we can go right off the top of the dome. Like, I really enjoy talking to you guys, because I
appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we can just go right off the top of the dome, and we could be there for 5 hours easy.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
So
you had to say it again.
And no Curie now, bro. He's got the drip. He's got the drip.
Yeah. Tony Mont, aka Tony Monteblano, hooking me up.
He came through. Jesus says, "Do you believe novations will flood the MLS soon?"
I think there's a lot of opportunity on the MLS period. I source a lot of deals from the MLS. With novations, you want to be very, very careful with novations. You want to make sure that the paperwork is done correctly. The difference between attorney and fact and power of attorney can kind of get you in trouble. I don't teach novations. I know Corey Geary is an amazing novations teacher. He is probably the guy to head to if you want to go ahead and learn novations. But yeah. I just think there's a lot of opportunity for everything coming into first quarter.
Yeah, I think I have an idea of why he's asking that question. Is there's a gentleman out there right now who's talking about the hedge funds hedge funds and cash buyers are completely gone. So then there's a new buyer, which is the MLS. But I think that's a little bit sort of not, you know what I mean? I think it's a little deceiving because I think there's still people out there, investors. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
They're not gone. They're on the side with piles of cash, waiting for the right time to jump in. And when they jump in, they're going to jump in at a rapid pace. And again, boom, it's going to start. The only difference this time is that they'll have less competition.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have less competition and a boatload of cash. So I think if you can position yourself where you can get some of these deals that are very lucrative and very enticing for them, with some creative stuff, man, it's going to position you to be in a really good position. Not only that, man, what I'm looking forward to is this is where the wealth starts, man, right here for me. It's my mind shift Ryan and I have already, we're definitely, and, Cash Money, you had some big, what is it called? You helped us think that way. Yeah. Big part of that, to think a little different when it comes to that. So, but super excited for this meetup, man. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. We're going to jam pack that place. Amazing. Super excited. Antonio said, "Hey Max, can you talk about your sales training a little more, brother? I think it's time to get some fine tuning from Etcetera." Yeah, bro. If you know what, send me a DM. Let's jump on a call. You and I, we'll get on a Zoom call and I'll definitely we'll talk about what exactly I talk about inside my sales training. Because if you guys know and have followed me, you got to understand that I am not a tactics guy. I don't talk about one-liners. I don't talk about super phrases. I don't talk about, I don't do gimmicks. I teach you how to have a conversation and how to discover, how to position yourself and how to, there's two things that I'm a big believer on is positioning and also, what is it called? Leverage, right? You can't have leverage without positioning. And the only way you can do that is to understand is how do I position myself to get leverage is by learning how to ask questions, learning how to build genuine bonding and rapport. And when I say bonding and rapport, I'm not talking about gimmicky. I'm not talking about, look at something on the wall and you try to relate with the seller. I'm talking about how do you build trust fast, really fast, especially in this environment that we're in. Most people don't think about that. And you can't do that by being gimmicky. I can't talk to Cash Money and say, bro, that hat is dope, bro. Like, where'd you get it? Cause I love that. I love that brand. Like that, he's going to call me out. He's going to be like, bro, this guy's a BSer, right? That's not what I'm talking about. It's talking about positioning yourself. I have this chart that I show and it's got A to B. And I always say this, the difference, the missing part from where the seller is point A to point B is information and trust. However, you can't be the one that deposits that information. You have it because they're not going to trust you because they're going to seem like you're trying to convince them, right? They're going to think that you're just trying to sell them. You got to help them discover that they need that information. And that's when the trust comes into play. And I'll probably just go as far as that. It's that thing, right? So if you want to, Antonio, if you want to, book a call with me, send me a DM and I'll shoot you over the link so we can get on a Zoom call. And then if it's good for you, then, we'll get you set up and get going, man. I really appreciate you for your interest in that. But it's definitely, I don't do tactics, brother. And Cash Money, you know that already. I don't do tactics, bro. Yeah. Yep. Gabe said, I know those plane tickets from North Carolina are Z cost. There you go. We want to show up for Cash Money Mike. Thomas said, I know people are having a hard time selling their novations. That's true. Because again, it's dependent on a qualified buyer, right? Conventional buyer. And with the interest rates going up, you almost got to buy them almost at a wholesale deal too. Yeah. Like you can't pay 90% on an ovation. There's no way. Right. And again, even if you do, I mean, the market's shifting so fast that your ARV from 30 days ago is not your ARV now. Yeah. Right. So novation is kind of falling in the same realm, even though it still works. I'm not saying it's not a good strategy, but you also got to negotiate a little bit more deeper, almost to the point now where it's like a wholesale deal. So Steven said quality conversation with motivated sellers. Exactly.
Ooh, Steven, he's getting good, man.
Yeah, he is. Now. Buy and hold is where the real cash money's at. And I know Cash Money loves that.
I love that. I love Paulina too. She's a badass investor. She's a badass investor, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. Hey guys, again, shoot me a DM. We'll send you the link. I'm gonna put the link to the meetup here in the description, so that way, make sure that you give Cash Money Mike a follow. Drop some fire emojis in the comment section if you got value tonight. Listen, we wanted to come out here and talk about a lot of different things. Is wholesaling dead? It's not dead, but it's definitely on life support, and it's time to pump it up with some. You need some enhancements, and so what better person to learn from than Cash Money Mike. And I like what Thomas says here: buy some, sell some. Holding everything will prevent rapid growth. Again, it just depends on where you're on your business. I think, right? I think Cash Money Mike wants to hold everything.
Yeah, I'm only trading up for bigger deals here, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I know you got some really good deals cooking. So, you want to say any last words, Cash Money Mike, before we jump off here?
Man, I just honestly, I'm so thankful for you guys. Thanks for having me on again. I'm absolutely honored that I'm the first guy to be on here twice. I'd like to come on like 4 or 5 more times. This way, nobody can catch up.
Ooh, drop the mic right there, bro.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys shortly here, man. I can't wait to reconnect.
Yeah, hey, Mike, you still doing your lives every Sunday at 9?
Yeah, talk about that, Mike.
Yep, I still go live. I go live every Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern on IG. So every Sunday you can tune in. I'll be dropping a bunch of fire over there. And then right after this meetup, Max and Ryan and myself are going to wind up, I think, going into another Zoom together. If you were around last time, I did like a 4 or 5 hour free training.
Yeah,
we're going to go back in there and we're going to shake it up a little bit. So make sure you're on the lookout for that too.
Yep.
Boom. I love it. All right, everyone. Well, I appreciate you for being on. Thank you for checking this out. Make sure that you share this live with everybody that you know. Listen, what we talked about tonight, no gurus are talking about this. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't even know if there's any more gurus left anymore, Mike.
It's just us 3.
It's just us 3. All right, everyone. We appreciate you for being on. Thank you very much, and have a good night.